Balls are back.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne!
I think I got my swagger back. Oh!
I love it, baby!
Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! By Tennessee, Jawan Jennings. Jennings makes the catch. Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better. We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
I made up my mind. I don't expect to ever look back. I'm going to stay at the University of Tennessee.
Reddit to do and welcome into more important issues. It is Thursday, December 16th. It is first off, exciting. I mean, everyone obviously is going to get excited for that with National Signing Day that happened this week, but a strangely quiet week. And maybe it's because the matchup isn't as exciting the past 2 years, but a strangely quiet week for a Tennessee-Memphis game on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it was maybe they put some doubt into us Tennessee fans because they beat Alabama, maybe.
So you're putting this all on Memphis. I feel like Tennessee's been quiet too. So it's just I felt like there's been a lot of trash talk. There's been a lot of and Memphis just like you said, they did have a great night on Tuesday against Alabama, but I don't know. It hadn't felt like the past 2 years. This rivalry felt really, really exciting and fun. It just hadn't like it doesn't feel like that for some reason. I'm excited for it. There's just something I don't know what's missing. Penny's not running his mouth, I guess.
I think you'll get your fix on Saturday. I have a feeling.
I hope so. Because I think it's a great. I mean, Rick Barnes mentioned it's great for the state of Tennessee. It's great for Tennessee. It's great for Memphis. Like, especially like this one specifically is cool because it's the final game of the 3-game series. You had Memphis, Knoxville, and now they're playing in Nashville at Bridgestone. Like that's a cool way to kind of conclude. I mean, I hope it doesn't conclude the entire series, but the original contract and to go play in Bridgestone and actually that's the side of the SEC tournament is Rick Barnes is going to get some reps in before the season's here or before the postseason's here.
Yeah, there you go. Get used to that court.
Felt like he's like I shoot terrible at neutral site courts. One of a very important neutral site tournament is in Bridgestone. We're going to go get a couple shoot arounds at Bridgestone before March.
There you go. Yeah, I like that.
Check out if they got the Madison Square Garden rims up.
God.
Want to avoid that.
Please, God, no.
Be a long night. Tennessee did bounce back, and we, of course, will discuss basketball win plus that. Like I said, that upcoming Memphis game that I am excited for is just feels like something's not there. I'm sorry. I felt like I brought it down. I felt like I brought the mood down. I apologize. Don't worry. We will talk National Signing Day.
Oh.
I text Landon this. It's like it's. I don't want to get excited. I don't know if it's because I've been hurt so many times. I'm trying to not excited. I'm excited and I want to get excited. I don't want to get like I want to stay away from hopeful. Like I want to avoid hope. But I feel like Tennessee did really good. And of course we'll talk about all those guys that are in the national or who signed with Tennessee or I don't think Tennessee didn't have anybody push their signing back, right? That was important. That wasn't quite on there. Tennessee was on their radar, but
yep. I mean, no one's everybody who was supposed to sign signed. So yeah, that was a.
But I mean, even for like Tennessee, a Tennessee prospect that was going to sign with another school, Tennessee didn't have anything like that. Like Kentucky had a prospect.
I think he ended up signing today. It was very weird. I mean, he acted like he couldn't make up his mind if he wanted to be there or not. So that has transfer portal written all over it to me.
Yeah. Maybe though, if you can get him on campus, like in January, I don't know if he's an early enrollee or not. Maybe you can like solidify that a little bit more because if you wait until June for him to get him on campus, he ain't showing up. No. Like that's not happening. No. So
no.
But no, we will talk about some of that, and then
there's some really good
I love talking
stories
NCAA.
that came out yesterday. Yeah, the the Shane Beamer story. Did you see that? We'll get into it. It's in
yeah.
what's trending. I got plenty.
Okay.
There was a lot of stories that came up yesterday. That was pretty funny.
Cool. I'm in. Let's do it. Let's talk National Signing Day. Let's get into the meat of the episode here. And like I said, I mean, it's just hard it's hard not to get excited. I'm not saying Josh Heupel did wonderful. I'm not even like willing to say he exceeded expectations, because I don't know if any Tennessee coach should have lower than, top 20, top 15, no matter the year, expectations at Tennessee. I mean, that's the thing about every coach that's coached at Tennessee, excuse me. They always say it's so easy to sell this place. I'm like, that's just funny, because like you're setting yourself up for failure if you don't get a guy. But It is. I mean, it's easy to sell this place. I do just laugh about that. But I say all that to say I'm not. Whereas I feel like he did kind of exceed expectations in the season, I'm not willing to say that so far for recruiting, just because I feel like where Tennessee's at, that should be Tennessee in a bad year.
Yeah, I just look at it as far as he had 10 and a half months to not only put a class together, but rebuild the recruiting office. Like, there was no one left. So for him to do that in 10 and a half months, and I think the way that they closed, the way, yesterday played out, I think he probably exceeded expectations for me. Maybe not in-state wise, but I think out of state, I think you got to look at it as a win. You got to look at it as there's something to this culture. I know, like, people keep saying, yeah, it's a family atmosphere, blah, blah, yeah. I think Josh Heupel even says, yesterday in his press conference that gets overused. But it just feels like, you're not losing anybody. The season ended. No one has entered the transfer portal as of yet. So, it just seems like there's something different. Now, again, I'm not like Josh Heupel and Hendon Hooker claiming that, hey, let's go make it to Atlanta. Cool. If that's your goal, yeah, let's do it.
That should be your goal.
Yeah, I'm not setting that as an expectation. But, I think yesterday was really good, because you always heard Josh Heupel can coach offense. He can score points. We beat the people we were supposed to beat this season. Could he recruit? I think that was the biggest question for me when he got the job. Can he recruit at this level? And maybe is he probably the top recruiter? Probably not. But I think he has a staff that does a really good job. And I think that kind of proved yesterday on how they finished, how they closed. Going 100 days without a single commit in the fall, which is wild. And then getting 8 commits here in the last, less than a month, I think was huge for this program, huge for this class. And they addressed every need. They got a quarterback. They got a running back. They got a quarterback in Taven Jackson. They got a running back in Dylan Sampson. They got a bigger back in Justin Williams yesterday. They got wide receivers. They got speed. They got guys on the outside. Caleb Webb, Cam Miller, Squirrel White, who is going to be a fan favorite just because of his name. Chaz Nimrod. You got offensive line. You got
Another
a guy
great
that can.
name, by the way.
Oh yeah, Nimrod. Oh yeah, for sure. And Chaz. I think it's Charles, but Chaz. Chaz is a better name. So Addison Nichols, you got offensive line. Addison Nichols, a guy that can probably help you right now. He's that big. He's that, seems to be college ready, smart. You got some projects in Messiah Reddick, Mo Clipper, Brian Grant. Some of those guys haven't played a lot of football, so you can kind of mold them into the offensive lineman you want them to be. You got some defensive linemen. You got Tyree West yesterday, Rodney Garner, doing what Rodney Garner does. And then you got Jordan Phillips, who is out of the state of Florida, who's already on campus, already enrolled, already practicing. You'll get some guys that will be with him very shortly. I think Tyree West, Justin Williams will be 2 of those guys that will bowl practice as well. Can't play in it, but we'll get their feet wet a little bit. You got some linebackers, Elijah Herring, Caleb Perry, dominant edge rushers, guys that are big, long, and James Pierce and Joshua Josephs. You got some DBs you added late, Christian Harrison, Jordan Thomas, and Des Williams. So, just a really good class all around. Again, does it meet? I think they addressed everything. I don't think I think it helped from a depth perspective, but you're still going to want to add guys in the portal guys that can help right away. But yeah, I think this is a great class. You got 13 guys that are going to enroll early. So again, mentioning getting their feet wet, getting ahead of the game, and doing that, I think is huge. So yeah, I'm excited about this class. And I know people are going to look at it. Yeah, we'll see next year. But does this class not get even better when you're able to, kind of sell your vision to some in-state prospects? I mean, you only had 2 of the top 30 in-state. You had 5 of the top 30 in the state of Georgia sign with you. So I think this in-state class only gets better. And, you got some connections in Atlanta. Rodney Garner is a guy that has a ton of connections in that area. Whether he's the primary recruiter or not, he can get people in the door. And, I'm excited. I think this is legit. The Josh Heupel can't recruit crowd had a bad day yesterday.
Yeah, and I'll before I just talk about individual guys. I mean, yes, Josh Heupel's done a good job, especially kind of considering where they were at. You mentioned the recruiting office being empty, unlike any other. But I mean, I think good job's about it's exciting. I think they did good, but it could be better, a lot better. I mean, and I know he was kind of behind the 8 ball, but at the same time, Tennessee's easy to sell. And a lot of those guys were in state, unfortunately. But you mentioned it last week. Some of those guys didn't even give them a chance. I think Tennessee's I think the Tennessee staff did a good job. I think you've got to improve from here on out, and I think you've got to do your best. I know a lot of those guys signed yesterday, but you also got to do your best to see if you can add to this class important pieces, but just talent. I mean, there's talent's also lacking. I mean, not lacking as much as just depth at positions, but it's lacking. So, I mean, you did with Tyree West. See if you can surprise some teams, and we'll be talking about exceeding expectations. Like I said, I think here is where you're like, that's a good job. That's Tennessee. Tennessee in their worst year, and adding to the transfer portal, you may increase that. So, there's ways for this class to improve, and I think Tennessee's done a decent job in the transfer portal so far. So I'm excited to see kind of what they do there too. I like what you said though about me and you texted this, they address needs. You went out and you got position and needs, and you got at a lot of those position and needs, you got some really good players. I mean, the James Pierce one, I saw a lot of people saying and I know he's lower rated than Tyree West, but they play 2 different positions, and I think the edge rush having a guy like James Pierce is a lot of people are excited to add that dynamic, especially with Byron Young, who just got better at each game. So I mean, addressing a ton of those needs at running back too, not just one running back though, 2 really good running backs you're bringing into this class. Nothing against the guys on campus, but not only do you have a guy leaving that was, your number 2, number 1, whatever you want to call him, in the top 2. But you have him leaving. There's not a ton of speed there right now. But I mean, that was huge to add those running backs. And then you mentioned a defensive back too. I mean, you went out. I feel like you mentioned people hating recruiting crowd. There's one guy who hates Willie Martinez specifically. I feel like that's a bad day for him.
Yeah, bad month. I mean, he's had 3 defensive backs in the last 2 weeks.
Right. So that's I thought Tennessee did good. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm just trying to be careful about hopeful. That's it. That's my fan perspective. Don't get hopeful.
Yeah, there's always that Tennessee PTSD going on, and then you got to find that happy medium. You can't be too negative. You got to be excited, but you can't be too excited where you're going to be let down if you don't make it to Atlanta. I do like having the billboard going toward Atlanta or going.
Yeah, that's I guess Tennessee is. We talked about this jokingly when Pruitt recruited pretty good out of Georgia and North Carolina. We were like, what were the 2 states that that 98 roster was made up of? And that was that was North Carolina and Georgia. So that's funny to see him going back into Georgia. That billboard was awesome. I hope somehow. I mean, I know there's not a ton of talent around Athens, but that would be a nice troll job to see if you could get a billboard in Athens as well. Yeah. Atlanta's good. It just doesn't stick it to them like I want it to.
Yeah, it could. I mean,
Georgia Tech doesn't give a crap.
Oh no. But that's where Georgia gets a lot of their.
Oh yeah,
is from that area, the Marietta, Hillgrove, Grayson, just around that areas. So yeah, I think that's kind of a troll job. That's also where we're putting our flag down in the city of Atlanta. Thanks to Rodney Garner. Wait, what?
I said, all right, Baker.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're doing, putting our flag down. Yeah, I like it. I think again, got to do better in state. But yeah, a lot of that this year was, you had one guy go to the highest bidder, and then you had other guys who were committed pretty much before the staff got put in place, and then they didn't really give the staff a chance to really get on campus, really show what they could do. So it is what it is. You got Cam Miller, one of the best players in the state of Tennessee. You got Elijah Herring, who his brother, part of that 2023 class, is the number one player in the state of Tennessee. So you probably, I would say, probably lead for him. You never say it's a done deal,
Right.
especially if you're talking about Tennessee. But you like what you have there, and with this class, I think it's a good starting point. You're not going to win a national championship on one class, but it's going to be multiple classes down the road that wins you a national championship. Again, going back to '98, I mean, it wasn't just that team; it was the teams that before them prepared them to get to that point. So I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to stack classes, and that's what we'll kind of wait and see with Josh Heupel. How good of a recruiter is he? I think time will tell. But I think this is a great start for him and his staff, and a huge win yesterday, getting those three guys where it looked like you might just get Justin Williams. It looks like James Pierce maybe wouldn't sign early, but you locked down those three guys, all 3 4-stars, and you solidified a consensus top 15 team, or top 15 class. So got to be happy with that. Again, the people in front of you, Texas A&M. I mean, good Lord, NCAA, how are you not knocking on their door? And how are we still not talking about? I know I brag on Texas A&M a lot, but it makes me so mad that people are like, I mean, what'd y'all really do? Go 7-5? What did Texas A&M do? They went 8-4. They beat Bama and they beat Auburn, and then they lost everybody else in the West. I mean, that was a 2016 Tennessee choke job. That's what that was.
Yeah, that was that's an impressive just way to play your seat. Like it's impressive in like how you did it. Alabama, I assume they have the highest odds to win the national championship. I mean, they're number one. They're
I think it's plus like 120 or something.
Yeah, it's like that. You beat the eventual national championship and lost to LSU and
Arkansas,
Mississippi State. Like that's incredible, and it's funny. Jimbo's a really good recruiter. Like, I mean, and I'm not saying he doesn't also have the money to back it up. I mean, where he recruited well was FSU and A&M now. It's funny that he's recruiting this well, but he's not had the success that he replicated at FSU. I know that fell off, but he won a national championship. Like, we laugh at FSU, but at least they won a national championship like 8 years ago and not, 20. So right. I do not envy them. Or, I do envy them. I would take that if it meant a national championship.
Does that not tell you, hey, or does it not solidify, hey, quarterback is the most important position in all? Because, that's what they've lacked. Kellen Mond was good, but he wasn't Bryce Young, Tua, Jalen Hurts. He wasn't any of those guys.
Right.
They did have one guy, Kyler Murray, and then he transferred to Oklahoma and won a Heisman. So, they just can't get it right. I think it's kind of similar to Georgia. They can't get the quarterback position right.
Yeah, which is I feel like, I don't know. I think you'll definitely find out next year, like if that's just a place quarterbacks go to die. Mm-hmm. Like maybe like Matt Stafford has just willed his way to a career. And it's a good career because of the teams he played on, but he's probably going to look back 15 years and be like, why did I play for the Lions that long?
Yeah.
And it started dying in Georgia. So it's Georgia's fault that he got stuck with the Lions. forever. And what's funny is like he goes to the Rams, and the Rams become very Lion-esque.
Oh yeah,
he's stuck. He's stuck. Even I don't know. All right. Anyways, I was about to go on.
Yeah, they have all the talent, and COVID destroys them.
Right. But no, I mean, hopefully Tennessee moves up. I don't know how you can, just because not a lot of time left, or scholarships left. But it'd be nice to somehow see them move up, and that requires one or two really big guys that you get. So
I think you're 6th in the SEC right now.
I was about to say,
you're 14th on 247. I think you're 11th on Rivals. I mean,
golly, I need to go to Rivals. What's the SEC ranking look like over there?
Probably
teams in the top 10. So 5 teams in the top 10. That's insane. Oops. Yeah, I know you want to talk about NIL deals later. I mean, golly.
Yeah.
The SEC is thriving. Even more now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he had Cade Mays say he wants 4th-round money to come back to Tennessee. I'm like, good God, who's giving you that?
He said that?
Yeah, on Tennessee Prime that, he was looking to get around that. I mean, maybe he's not. Maybe he just said that. Maybe he's looking for something maybe in the ballpark of, I don't know. But I was like, that's like what?
I'm looking it up.
$1.6 million, because I think you get $1 million signing bonus. 1.5 million, something like that. I mean, like, who is throwing that? It can't be Comcast, because good God.
It is Comcast. Think about it. They save all their money by not
having a customer service,
internet, and you all still paying for it. So
yeah, they don't have a customer service office. They don't take phone calls. So yeah, I don't know who works in that building. They just have a bunch of tech guys come out. Like, I don't. You have to schedule it out like 2 months in advance to even get a guy to come to your house, and it's 50-50 if he makes it or not. So.
So it depends on what Cade Mays meant. If he meant that he wants the full 4-year. That would be $4.1 million, the full rookie deal from a 4th.
I think he was talking about a year.
Okay, so it says this is some website. I'm not checking the validity of it. I'm just going to repeat it.
Like $1 million.
Y'all can decide. $814,000 to $733,000. That does include their signing bonus.
That's a lot of dough.
That's a lot of dough. Maybe I don't know. I haven't listened to it, so I saw where he said he hadn't decided, but. Here's my question. If he said that, and if he knows what it is, because we don't, obviously, I feel like he's got to be making good money now.
Yeah.
I'm
like
not saying
decent. He's probably doing. He's doing all right.
He has to. I feel like if you're going to say that, that means you have to think you have a chance of making $700,000. So I feel like that means he's in that ballpark.
Let's look at it like this. Travis Hunter, the number one, I know we're going to talk about this, but Travis Hunter got over $1 million to go to Jackson State pretty much. He was the number one player in the country. So, I mean, like, he's getting that money. Like, who's paying?
Wait. Did you say, so is that, I don't think that report's true.
Oh, is it not? I thought it was.
No, I don't think so.
Why the hell else would you go to? I mean, there's something going on. Why the hell else would you go to Jackson State?
I'm sure he's getting an NIL deal. But here's my question: would you? Because I was thinking about it. All right, so I mean, if you believe what Deion Sanders is selling in the HBCU, like this is going to be, and the SWAC, I believe, is what they're in. They're trying to get to FBS level, which I think is stupid. Just play the FCS, but make sure you can play for a championship right now, the way your program stands. But they're trying to move up to FBS. But if you believe the vision Deion's selling, and then there's been greats come out of HBCU, and then you get some NLI money on top of that. Like, I'm not saying you even match what Florida State's is, or maybe you match Florida State's. And then you get to play for Deion Sanders. You have the connections to the NFL. More than likely, I mean, I don't like. Do you trust what's going on at FSU in terms of stability over what's going on? And I'm saying take away everything. You just compare the programs, take away the level they play at. you're making the same amount of money, and you look at the stability of the program. Like, am I going to play for a different coach in 3 years or in 2 years? I'd go with Jackson State in that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, no one took more L's yesterday than Florida State. I'll say that.
Yeah. And I mean,
Rodney Palmer dunked on them, and then Travis Hunter and Deion Sanders, who actually went to college there, dunked on them. So
yeah. But I mean, I think if you are NFL talent, if you go to Jackson State and play under Deion Sanders and his staff, you won't have any problem getting in the NFL. Like, it won't change anything for you.
No.
I understand it more than I feel like people are thinking it is impossible anyone would ever do that. I think it's very, very rare. I think it's going to become less rare if the vision Deion's selling, comes to fruition. But I get it, and I don't think it's as absurd as people were making it out to be. Also, Deion went to Florida State. I'm not saying Deion recruited dirty. Maybe he did, but like, if anyone can sell against FSU right now, I feel like it's Deion, who apparently did interview for the job.
Yeah, you didn't hire him. I mean, Florida State, you dug your own grave on that one.
So I just don't think it. Like, I feel like that also was just like the perfect storm to get the number one guy from your alma mater, who apparently interviewed you, didn't hire you. I don't know. It feels poetic. I love it.
Yeah. I know we just got a text saying that Travis Hunter didn't get paid anything to go to Jackson State from Chad. Didn't get paid anything?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure he's.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility he makes it to the league. He's the number one player in the country. He's probably, there's a reason why he was projected. They do that projections off, if they're going to have a good NFL career. Yeah, he's probably going to make it to the league. I just don't. Oh, well, like it is what it is. Like, that's the NIL. That's recruiting.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny. People are saying NIL can't, isn't going to add parity, and it's like, well, I mean, the number one player in the nation just went to a Division I FCS school.
Yeah.
So,
and those schools, like, I know Deion's there. I know Deion's got plenty of money. He's got Barstool, whatever. But Florida State's got more money than Jackson State, and Deion does. I guarantee.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they do. It's just you also got to have the commitment level, because that's another thing. A lot of these small schools, if they have the commitment level, like in Texas, if Houston has a commitment level, the money's there. They could recruit with anybody in the country, like Texas A&M. It's just if they, you got to have the commitment. And I don't know if I don't know how big Florida State's commitment is right now, and especially under Mike Norvell, who like a year ago they wanted to fire.
Right.
And they give a contract extension. But no, what I think Chad was talking about too is everyone's saying it was a Barstool offer, and Dave and Big Cat were like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I feel like they would know. And I also don't understand how it would grow their brand any. So it doesn't make sense. And I mean, Deion can find out how to get $1.5 million without Barstool Sports anyways. So nothing against Barstool Sports.
Out of his pocket.
Yeah,
I mean, he
hired
hired
Deion Sanders.
He had a freaking Instagram model come talk to their team.
And it was just like a birds and the bees talk that like you have with your son, kind of. You're like, hey,
it's very strange.
Hey, don't do it, or if you do it, just make sure you use protection because we don't want babies around. It was kind of like that talk.
Yeah, that was very weird. Whatever.
Did you do any research on that girl? Like, do you know who she is?
No, I don't know who she is.
So I read about her because I was in her.
I feel like I should know who she is.
No, you well, you may. Like, I feel like you think it was an adult film star. It wasn't that.
No, but she wouldn't be against it either.
I can't remember what NBA player it was, but I think she said like on a podcast, like openly to, like that she married this NBA player, maybe didn't even marry him, just had his baby, and she's living off the child support.
What?
Like that's her job in her eyes.
And she talked to the football team.
So apparently Deion got her in there and was like, don't, like, these are the kind of girls that'll come after you when you have money. Be smart. That's why I said it was like the birds and the bees. It's like, hey,
don't be this girl. Don't
like,
get with this girl.
Exactly. Crazy's fun. Well, I think she came in and was like, here's what these type of girls will do because I'm the one. Listen to me.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I don't know, Landon, if you had a hot girl come into your sex ed class and was like, hey, don't do it. Yeah, I mean, that'd be more convincing than some like.
Are those guys listening to what she's saying, or are they just looking at her?
They were laughing, so I mean, she.
Oh yeah, they're laughing because they're like, "What the hell? What is this? What's about to go down?" Yeah, that was just I don't know. If it was my program, I would do that. But hey, Dion, it seems to be working for him. He got the number 1 player in the country, so it seems to be working just okay for him. So.
Okay, so she said in 2018, athletes are really dumb, and women can get paid by having babies with them because they don't use protection. So, yeah. I mean, hey, they're out there.
Wear Cups athletes.
Chad bonked me for knowing about her. I didn't know about her before. Also, I don't know what an Instagram model is. Aren't we all kind of Instagram models? Like, there's pictures of all of us on Instagram.
Yeah, but we don't get paid.
What separates? I might.
You might. I mean, hey, do what you got to do.
What is it? But I could still be an Instagram model if it was maybe I do it as an amateur for the NCAA.
Caleb's an Instagram model, everybody. It's
amateur.
Done deal.
We're still working on the NLI rights over here on this side of the athletics.
Get him sponsored.
Do it. I don't post on Instagram enough. Maybe I need to start. So 2022 class superlatives. Would you have in mind here? What were we going for?
I think we'll start with all name. We kind of mentioned those already, but all name. I got to go Squirrel, man. I mean, Tennessee has its own mascot already that wears the helmet at the football game.
Yeah, that's true.
Squirrel White.
I'm kind of torn on this. I mean, the name's not super unique or anything, but Tyree, I like the way it's spelled. Very simple and to the point. I don't know if that's all name team, but I mean, I'll go with my favorite. It's Chaz Nimrod.
Yeah, I like that.
That's easy all team name.
Let's go biggest impact. And Joe, I don't know if you prepared for this, but you can come in here too if you want to. Biggest impact next season. Who has the biggest impact? Me, I think it's the JUCO guy. I think it's Desmond Williams. Led the nation in picks in junior college, and I think he has 2 years left, so he is experienced. When it comes to playing at the college level. So I'm going to go with Desmond Williams. I think Tennessee needs. They lose Alontae Taylor. They could lose Trayvon Flowers. I'm not sure what. I guess he's leaving. And then Theo Jackson. So I think he has a chance to really play. Also, he's a good returner as well, so he could help in the return game. So I'm going to go Desmond Williams as a guy that probably plays quite a bit next season.
I'm kind of torn on this one, and it's. I think I would easily say Addison Nichols if you kind of knew what that offensive line for sure looked like next year. You have Cade Mays potentially returning, and who am I thinking about that? Did they get the medical red shirt? Are they gonna get it? Who am I thinking? Calbert.
Aaron.
Have they said?
I mean, he has one. He could come back.
Okay.
He just it's up to him if he comes back or not.
So that could impact it, and so I'm kind of hesitant on Addison Nichols because I think it's going to be a lot about need. But you mentioned it when you talked about him. He looks college ready. He's big. He's strong, and coaches like kind of how he understands the game too. So I think if that need's there, I think he's going to be an immediate impact. But I think without kind of knowing, I think James, the guy I talked about being the most exciting signee of yesterday, and that's James Pierce. Talk about a guy that looks college ready. He could probably get bigger, but that can happen very easily in a college weight room. I think Tennessee needs a lot of help at edge rush, and I believe Did I see rumors about Tyler Barron going into the portal? Is that true?
I mean,
That he's
that's a
considering
rumor,
it?
but he was on Tennessee Prime, and he's been practicing, so I don't see it as of now.
Right, but that adds that need for edge rush. But it's kind of been by committee until Byron Young kind of came into his own. So I think he'll have a pretty big impact in season 1.
Yeah. Joe, you got any?
I was kind of in the same party with the Addison Nichols. Like, I felt in terms of building blocks, he was, big, ready. It's kind of seemed called ready in the same manner. I know it's kind of the generic answer, but like that just in terms of like the question at hand, like that just seems the most stereotypical answer. But yeah, that's one of those positions and those players that it might not be the most like upfront visually, in terms of most important, but when it comes down to it, as Caleb said, if that's the position that needs work, that's somewhere that we can definitely find it with him in that position.
Yeah. I like all those. Also, I think Justin Williams has a chance to play. I mentioned he's a different kind of running back, already 6 foot, 205, not been in a college weight room yet. So I like, him being a Tyon Evans-esque, Jalen Wright and Jabari Small are going to play. I think Tennessee definitely needs a third back, a guy that can hit it in short yardage. And I think Justin Williams kind of fits that mold. So, I think he was a big pickup yesterday, and he just seems like a monster.
Yeah,
I mean, he was wearing like black and silver, just like the South Paulding are the Raiders or East Paulding. So, I mean, he was already in Raiders gear, so he just looked like an NFL player on his highlight tape.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that, like, I had him on my most important two just because as it becomes less apparent that Zach Evans will obviously be at Tennessee. And, with Tyon Evans out, we talked about a couple episodes ago that's that gap that we need to fill. And obviously he's not going to come in and be the star running back, I would assume, like any of the star back. But I think adding that depth and someone that's proven, he's got pretty good highlights and stuff. So I think having that depth in the backfield will be pretty big for us. Just again, it's not going to be that key player that we would have wanted out of Zach Evans, but it's helpful.
Yeah. Next one for me, biggest get. So I guess like biggest surprise in this class.
Tyree West.
Yeah. Gotta be Tyree West.
First name across the whole.
There was really kind of nothing on that front. He did take his last official visit to Tennessee that last weekend, and it looked like he was headed for FSU. And again, FSU just took a lot of L's yesterday, and Rodney Gardner closed that one. You hate to see it. Next one, guy you're most excited for. Let's do offense and defense. We'll go offense on this one. The first one I got Caleb Webb. I think. Sorry, I'll let you go first, so we don't take yours next time. I'm gonna go Caleb Webb, 6'3", physical receiver, guy that just blew up his senior year. Cody Burns was talking about him, and he just seems ecstatic to have him on campus. One of the best players in the state of Georgia, and had 18 touchdowns in 7A football, and can return and take it to the house. Runs a sub 11 100-meter dash. So I played receiver in college, so I got to pick a receiver. That's what I'm excited for. Receivers, and speed. Speed kills.
Does in fact kill.
So I'm gonna break. You probably meant most excited for next year. I'm looking into the future here.
I'm most excited to have on campus. It doesn't have to be for next year.
I think Tavian Jackson. First off, they knew who their guy was kind of right when they started. When did he actually commit? I feel like it was pretty early on.
Like when did he commit?
To Tennessee, yeah.
Yeah, like in the summer.
So like I feel like that was they went out, they got the guy they wanted. I'm sure they would have liked to have the in-state kid who's going to Alabama. But beyond that, kind of went out and identified him. Like I said, committed early on. And then I think he gets to come into a better situation than maybe he thought, having Hendon Hooker. We talked about how impressive he's been this year. So to get behind him for a year, a lot of talent. Seems to mesh well with the staff, kind of be on the same page so far. I'm really excited to see how he progresses because he's probably your starter in 2023 as it stands today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of on that same Caleb Webb. I mean, I'm basically everything Landon fits. It's just the most excited to see. I mean, we love a receiver, a good fit for a receiver, and obviously someone speed kills. It's nice to have playmakers on, especially to, depends how they get rotated and cycle next year. But with Hendon Hooker back, it's just exciting to have wide receivers filling for the ones that we're losing after the season.
Yeah. Defense.
How fast is Caleb Webb?
He runs
40?
40.
Do you have his 100 time?
I can look that up.
Oh, I thought you were about to say it, so I didn't know.
But I mean, this was his junior year, so I mean,
right,
probably. So most of those receivers are track guys. I know Squirrel is. I know Caleb is. I think Chaz Nimrod is. Caleb Webb ran a 10.900, and that was in April.
Junior year. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So
So
he
won a state title in the 4x1 during his junior year.
I feel like that's pretty impressive.
And qualified for the state in 100 meter.
Yeah, I feel like that. I mean, the state of Georgia, I got to think that's very impressive.
Right.
Times are so weird. I don't understand them. All I watch is the Olympics when it comes to track, so I don't know what's good.
Defense, I'm going to go Joshua Josephs. I know people love the James Pierce. He's a new kid on the block. I get it. But Joshua Josephs, 6'3", 215. Guy that can be a run stopper from North Cobb in Kennesaw, Georgia. He was one that we're kind of on him from the get-go as soon as the staff kind of took over. And, I'm just glad that I just love edge rushers on defense. You got to have them, got to love them. I think that was something Tennessee could have used, another one of those last season to get to the quarterback. I'm not sure on what kind of – I know Tim Banks, love what you did. But can we get two pass rushers on the field at one time? I would like to see Tyler Barron and Byron Young both playing at the same time.
I 100% agree. And I'm going with James Pierce for the same reason. I went to long, I was looking into the future with Tavian Jackson. I'm looking into now. I think James Pierce makes a very quick impact. And yeah, I'm Flandin. Let's get some more, especially on third down. Let's get some guys who can give it to the quarterback.
Let's get third down for what? Let's get some sacks, baby.
I'm out on third down for what?
James Pierce, 6'5", 220. He's massive.
He's a big dude.
Christ.
Yeah, that's a big boy.
I don't know who's faster. Oh yeah. Oh God. That was what was funny was I was listening to Arian Foster's podcast and he was talking about, he's like, people don't understand how fast football players are. And then we're not just talking about the 5'10" corner, the 6'5", 230, 40-pound linebacker defensive end is running a 4.7. 4.8.
Yeah, look at Aaron Donald. Doesn't he run like a 4.5?
He may.
His defensive tackle.
It is stupid. Oh, golly. Trevor said, give me some Tyree West. I don't know what that was in reference to, which superlative, but we'll go all for Trevor on Tyree West.
It's all around.
Just all sign him up.
We got him, so you got your wish, Trevor. Well, let's go.
All right, if we were on Survivor Island and you had to kick one commit off Survivor.
Oh, God. Who's the smallest
I'm
one?
just kidding. No. You want to take out the biggest one. We're voting them off. We're voting them off the island. They're going home.
The biggest guy.
Oh, it doesn't have to be. I'm just saying that I think you're trying to survive against the others, not with the others.
I mean, Masai Reddick's 6'4.5", 330, so I got to think he's probably the biggest guy.
You mentioned James Pierce. I think he's pretty quick at 6'5", 220. I think I'm getting him off the island. Peace.
He might help you out, though.
That's true. All right, so if I can't team up with him, if I can't create an alliance with him, I'll kick him off. So.
Let's go underrated. Joe, we'll start with you since we've been taking all yours.
Well, okay. I originally had Caleb Webb, which I guess we've talked like plenty enough, and it's not for the simple. I mean, obviously he's got enough like hype coming in, but I feel like in terms of position he's in, I thought. I mean, like I felt like I took underrated as like not most impact, but like expectations for impact and what he actually exceeds on the impact for like in that aspect. And I feel like he's gonna have a way bigger impact than what people are giving him at front.
Okay.
Maybe not next year, but just in terms of like the future, I feel like maybe.
Yeah, I like that. Mine is a guy that, was kind of he was a Liberty commit, and his dad played in the NFL. I just think he's going to be a solid corner. He just reminds me of Cam Sutton for some reason. I don't even know if they're like size wise. I don't even know if they're really comparable, but he's 6 foot 183. He's kind of on the smaller side. I feel like Cam Sutton was on the smaller side. That's Christian Harrison out of Atlanta, Georgia. Cornerback. I mentioned his dad already played in the NFL. So I just think he's his recruitment kind of took off later than, he probably expected it to. And, you get a really good guy, a really talented corner out of that Atlanta area. And then, his dad knows what it takes to get to the NFL. So I think Christian Harrison is definitely one of the more underrated guys on this class.
Yeah, I like both of those, and I was kind of leaning towards someone like Christian Harrison just for the fact that you mentioned how late his recruitment picked up. I don't know how fast he is. His tape, he looks really quick, really fast. And then you mentioned it, just kind of everything kind of happened later than normal for him. So I kind of lean towards Christian Harrison being my underrated guy as well.
Okay. I also want to kind of mention Brian Grant in that. 6'6", 278, only played football for 2 years. Out of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. I mean, the dude's a massive individual. And he's probably only going to get bigger in a college weight room. But, 6'6", you add a couple more pounds on him. Super athletic kid. I think he played basketball. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but he played basketball. So, I think Brian Grant could be a guy that, you need you need tackle bodies. You can't have enough of them. And, you could lose Cade Mays this year. You could lose him next year. So he's a guy that could really learn from him, learn from Darnell Wright, and they kind of mold him into somebody that, can be a huge help going forward.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Let's go best position.
Group?
Yeah, group, sorry. I'll let one of you guys go first.
I got to think of that linebacker edge rusher position, right? Maybe running back?
Yeah.
But I think I lean towards edge rusher, that linebacker position. Yeah,
I like that. 2 4-star guys getting to the quarterback, big athletic guys.
Very lengthy. Both of them lengthy.
Yeah, I'm going to go running back. Getting 2 4-star running backs is huge. I feel like defense, it's a lot easier to kind of stack those positions, but on offense, there's only one ball. So for you to kind of stack that that class, getting 2 4-star running backs, 2 different running backs, Dylan Sampson, guy, kind of that scat back track guy from Louisiana. And then you got Justin Williams, who I mentioned is 6 foot 205 already. So bigger back, kind of different than Dylan Sampson, Jabari Small, Jalen Wright. Somebody that can run between the tackles and get you those short yardage or goal line situations. So, yeah, I like the running backs, but I also agree with you, Caleb. Edge rushers got to be up there when you add 2 guys like that.
Are you talking groups with the addition now, so overall on the team, or just strictly from this class?
Strictly from the class.
Okay. Yeah, I'd probably have to go with that edge position, just like a little mix of what both of you said. Running backs, that's a valid point, but I feel like with how busy it is back there and in terms of, but then I can't thankfully count that in. But yeah, I just feel like the edge positions because a little bit more, desired, at least in my opinion right now. Obviously, like we had, losing some positions there. It's just going to be important to fill. I don't know. That's what I'm feeling.
Biggest question mark. Let's go the team now. Like biggest question mark with position group. I still got to go linebackers. I don't think it was addressed in this class, but I feel like it's kind of, you didn't get a Tyree West as a linebacker. You didn't get like a guy of that talent. Maybe these guys turn into it. Maybe they develop into it. But I just feel like you could use a lot more. A guy from the portal would be huge. Maybe in February you try to go get you another linebacker in this class. I just think with the team, what you had last year, I think those 3 linebackers were 3 of your lowest rated defensive players on the team. So you definitely want to increase that. And, I still think there's work to be done at that position.
No, if you're just looking at the team and landscape, like question mark for, I think linebackers is very, very easy. There's just you did pretty good, but you just need depth still. Hopefully you've addressed some of the talent gap, but they are going to be freshmen. So, you got to get at least one linebacker in the portal, right? And hope he's better than Mitchell.
Yeah, for sure.
Or more impactful, at least.
I think you need a guy in the portal that's better than one of the 2 starting. I just
don't entirely disagree.
I just don't think. Yeah, you got serviceable linebacker play, but what are we trying to do? We're trying to catch up to Alabama and Georgia. You're not going to catch up with the way that those guys played last season. Sorry, but that's the way that it is.
My question mark, though, I'll give you linebackers. Special teams, man. What the heck? Not a long snapper, not a kicker, not a punter. We don't even have a holder signed. This is garbage.
I agree. Let them eat.
Yes.
And Mike Eckler, he signed somebody. Somebody's. He's got some returners. He's got some farts in the skillet in this class. I'll say that.
I sure hope so. That return game wasn't great last year. So
no, it wasn't. Bayless Jones came on.
I'll take it back. Yeah. Bayless had a few kickoffs. It just felt like they were either really good or like really average. Outside of the fumble against
Ole Miss.
Pitt, Ole Miss. It was a close game. Outside of that, there were no real blunders. Like that was the only one, really, right?
Yeah. Was it Ole Miss? Now that am I right?
We fumbled, right. So we blocked the kick during Pitt. We lost the fumble at Ole Miss.
That's what I'm thinking of. Like no real. That's the only blunder. And then he had a few explosive. It just felt very average.
Yeah, he was first team All SEC as a returner, but
did he had just one punt return for a touchdown this year? Is that right?
He had a kickoff, right?
He had a kickoff. I thought he had a punt too against like Tech or something.
He had a big punt return against South Alabama. It didn't go for a touchdown, but he returned it pretty far.
Gotcha.
Against South Alabama, right?
Oh, the kick.
The kick.
Yeah, so he had both. Yeah, he had a big punt return and he had the kick return against. Yeah, you're right. That's kind of all I got for superlatives. I thought that was just something interesting to do, kind of break down this class a little bit more. But yeah, super satisfied. Again, top 15 consensus. Across all the people that cover recruiting. So I think On 3 is kind of the newer one. So I don't know how much I really put into it yet, but Chad Simmons
is it going into the composite now?
I don't think so. But I think they have their own composite.
Okay. Gotcha.
No, but it's Chad Simmons. It's the same guy who did Rivals.
Okay. I didn't know that. Interesting. Wait, so Rivals. Who's doing the player stuff? I don't know what they call it at Vanderbilt. Was he involved with Rivals or 247?
Okay, Chad Simmons did 247. Barton Simmons did Rivals. Or was it the other way around? One of those two guys did. Yes. I got to look it up.
I love that. I didn't realize. Okay.
Yeah, so
Right. I feel
Barton
like I just
Simmons was
confused everything.
Robles. Chad Simmons was 247.
Gotcha. Okay. Answers my question. Yeah, he did have a kickoff return for touchdown, not a punt. So that's right.
Barton Simmons is about to come up in my what's trending.
Oh,
Well, let's flip over to basketball real quick. Kind of getting the end of this episode. So Tennessee took on South Carolina Upstate. South Carolina Upstate was just very undermatched, just not a great basketball team. And Tennessee took advantage and won by 44 points. I think that's the third 40-point win we've had this season. So, hey, we light it up against terrible teams. I'll tell you that.
And then blow it against sub-4 teams.
Yeah, hopefully that changes this weekend. That was I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to continue on that trend. That was it was. I mean, the good news is I feel like you can either have a real I feel like coming off a loss like that, especially where you shot so poorly, it could go opposite where you lose in either bad fashion or in a close game to South Carolina Upstate. So you avoided that. I'll give credit there.
Yeah. I mean, like Olivier had a really good game. Kenny Chandler had a double-double. I just need them to put it together against, Joe kind of mentioned, against teams that matter.
Right.
Villanova didn't play great. Texas Tech didn't play great. You played good against North Carolina. Didn't get Kenny Chandler just kind of beat Colorado by himself.
True.
I need them to show up against this Memphis team. I don't want to lose to Penny Hardaway. I think that would really, suck the wind out of my excitement for Tennessee basketball if we lost to this Memphis team. I know they beat Alabama. They seem like they get up for every big game, which, that's a sign of a terrible ran program. But I mean, like that, you just can't lose. This is a game you got to win. It's important.
Oh, it's very important, especially because you mentioned not that you played in a couple good games, but your two biggest games so far you've lost.
Mm-hmm.
Why was I thinking Texas Tech was ranked? Okay, so that's not entirely true. But I mean, you're important out of conference games. Two of them you've lost. Two of them you won. Split those. So yeah, this is another. You have two more out of conference games. Both of them are huge. This one, like you said, Memphis. Not what sucks is like they're not a great basketball team, but they've got a ton of talent, and if that talent comes out, they're in trouble. So.
Yeah, I mean they played out of their minds against Alabama. Just kind of shot the lights out. Alabama didn't shoot well, and I mean they're only 8 for 23, but they shot 53%. They got some big guys, which I think is worrisome if you're a Tennessee fan, because you just haven't got a lot out of your post players in big games. Texas Tech didn't show up. Villanova didn't show up. Didn't have a great game against North Carolina. Didn't have a great game against Colorado. I need them to show up. I know Fulgerson has had a few decent games, but Olivier, if you can score 21 and 8 against USC Upstate, I need to see more out of you against a Memphis team. I think this is a huge game for our post players. I mentioned Memphis does have size. So, I mean, this is a game that kind of rests on their shoulders. I think our guards are going to be good enough to win. But I think the difference maker with this team the rest of the season comes down to our post players.
Yeah, no, I'd certainly agree with that. And it's encouraging to see Olivier playing better. But like you said, we just got to play better in the big games. I mean, and that's the team in general. But Olivier's, you've kind of seen him. It's kind of become a trend this season. Now, I guess probably because he's a starter, you're seeing more of him. But got to have him out for up for this big game. And I think I hate to talk about. I'll say it this way: Brandon Hunley Hatfield needs to see the floor more, and for a specific person. I think for this Tennessee team to be successful.
Yeah.
And I guess he did the other night, didn't he?
Yeah, he had 19 points, or not 19. I wish he had 19 points. 19 minutes. So I mean, maybe Rick Barnes is listening, and you can slowly see the transition from Euros is getting less minutes and Huntley Hatfield's getting more. But what did he do in those 19 minutes? I mean, he went 3 for 7, 6 points. It wasn't like a great force down low. You know, it wasn't. I mean,
8 rebounds.
I mean, which is great. Rebounds are great, but it comes down to, one thing is I feel like if I know Rick Barnes in this team, what Tennessee typically does is I really hope the Texas Tech game was, even though it should have been a kick in the ass at halftime and they should have came out and changed it and fixed it up. I feel like they definitely needed to take that game when you were 6 of 40 as a kind of wake up call and, attack that in practice and say, okay, so we're going to learn some new shot selections and just take smarter shots, which granted we haven't, had a big team. I think Memphis will be somewhere we can see that, but you can see that they're kind of shifting away from taking, stupid threes. I mean, I didn't get to see the actual game live, but when I watched the replay back, it seemed like the better shot selection and taking the extra minutes and not say, even though I'm wide open and could shoot this three or at least minimal coverage, let's make the smarter option and try to get down low, try to get points in the paint, mid-range shots, which is just, that's what I want to see.
The thing I hate about our post players, and all of them are guilty of this, it feels like the paint is a black hole. Like if that ball goes in there, it is not coming back out.
Yeah.
And that was great in the Grant Williams era when he could score at will. But you don't have that anymore. And I think going back to your point, Joe, and smarter shot selection, I know this isn't, 10-footers, 15-footers, but if you can have some kind of threat down low and penetrate and create, you do your guards a ton of help by giving easier shot selection. If they know the ball is going down low and it's getting shot or stolen, your guards aren't being helped out in times when they could be creating shots. So that's the only thing I hate about our post play, and that's got to improve. It shouldn't be a thing. I'm not going to keep track. That feels like a lot of work. Someone maybe that's listening, keep track. See how often the ball touches the paint in a post player's hands and is either a point, missed shot, or a steal, a turnover.
I would love to see the percentage on that. I'm sure it'd be a little disappointing because that is something I've noticed that when it gets down there, it's like, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or if they just aren't sure you don't have that. Fulkerson doesn't seem as confident taking that turnaround jumper, or trying to work like a little post hook shot up off the backboard. It's like no one's really sure that they're going to take that shot, so they freak out. They don't pass it back out, and it's a turnover. Or it's a bad layup. It's a couple air balls or hit the bottom of the backboard or something.
Yeah, it seems very difficult for a post to score. Like if they do score, it's like, holy crap, that was an incredible shot.
Right.
Like it just seems like nothing easy is coming from our post players. And that's got to change. I do think one thing that kind of goes Tennessee's way in this game is Memphis seems like a team that will implode very quickly. So this kind of nasty defense that we have going on where we're kind of smothering teams, I think that leads to a lot of turnover, especially with, Memphis. They have Amani Bates. They have Duran, who are like two of the youngest players in college basketball. And, Amani Bates had 3 turnovers the other night. He's not even their primary ball handler. He only played 15 minutes. So you get some of these guys and, you're smothering them. You're kind of getting under their skin. I think this team does kind of implode. I mean, this team should have never lost 4 games in a row to Georgia, Ole Miss, Iowa State, and Murray State. That Memphis team has the talent to beat every single one of those teams. But they kind of implode at the first sign of weakness. And they were up against Alabama, and they just kept it rolling. But if Alabama would have probably knocked down a couple of those threes early on in the game, that game probably is a very different outcome.
Yeah. I mean, the big thing, like from my spot, I look at it as like, if we're just looking at the matchup, straight skill, not regarding the past 2 games, 3 games, or whatever, Tennessee versus Memphis. Tennessee, obviously, not even orange goggles, but Tennessee wins that game. But you got the tale as old as time. You got a team that, maybe wasn't playing so well, but just had a really hot game against a good team and kind of seems like they may have clicked. And then on the other side, you got the team that's fallen in the rankings that was supposed to be better and seems to be slipping a little bit. So it's, do you ride with the team that seems to maybe have clicked, or maybe they got a lucky break, or do you take Tennessee in this position that do they get connected and do they figure it out on their side of the ball? or do they stay? So it's one of those things. I'm obviously going to side with Tennessee here, but I feel like that's just the natural pick anyway. I'm just not scared as most people would about how Memphis played against Alabama because, as you said, they should implode, and I would hope that Tennessee can exploit those weaknesses that we've seen them play in some different games this year.
Let's raid the Capitol and beat Memphis. That would be awesome to see. I think it'd be awesome for this program because then after this game, it's right back to work. You got Alabama,
Arizona.
Arizona, then Alabama. Then you start that SEC slate. Who, they got a lot of really good teams in the SEC. So it doesn't get any easier from here. But definitely want to get a win in that neutral site game in Nashville against a team that we just don't like.
Yeah.
What's trending?
What's trending? Let's hit it.
First thing I got, I want to mention the. So I heard this rumor today, and I don't know if it's true, but I'm going to mention it.
Nancy Reagan.
So apparently,
you have to state it like it's fact. Like just have to.
So Darren Agu, officially visited Tennessee 2 weeks ago. He was a Vanderbilt committed to Clark Lee early. Was committed to Clark Lee at Notre Dame before he left. So he was at. So he took the official visit to Tennessee. It looks like he was trending to Tennessee. Then he officially visits Vanderbilt for that last official visit. Seems like everything was going fine. And then he made the decision to stick with Vanderbilt. So the rumor is that his teammate is also a Vanderbilt commit. And Barton Simmons and Clark Lee said that they would not take his teammate's commitment if he signed elsewhere.
There's no way that's true.
I don't know, man.
That's absurd. I hope it's true.
Yeah, hopefully
that come
it's
out,
not.
but
yeah, hopefully it's not.
But that would be terrible, but it would also be hilarious.
You're right. Also, dude, if that's my buddy, I'm like, sorry, dude. I ain't playing in front of nobody.
I would just simply call another school and say, hey, let him come as a preferred walk-on, for God's sake.
Yeah, Jesus.
That's insane. My first one's along the lines of just disaster coaches. Our man, Urban Meyer.
Yep.
He's become a favorite on this podcast. This is about to become the Urban Meyer show, which, by the way, would be a fantastic show. Zach Smith is the host. It would be awesome. But I don't know when this story trended. I don't know when it hit. I think it was before last week or after last week, after last Thursday. The story about him calling his assistant coaches losers. Like, he apparently went around the room and was like, tell me why you're not a winner or something like that. And he was like, yeah, you're a loser. I'm not a loser. And then it comes out that he also apparently, I text Landon this. I meant to open the show like this. I've podcasted with better hosts back at Bowling Green. It apparently just said that to his assistant, that he's coached with better coaches at Bowling Green. And then he's going around just kicking kickers.
Is that
this
true?
man's insane.
Yeah, he said he kicked. I think he kicked him and then said, "Well, he was like, I'm the head ball coach around here. I'll kick whoever the F I want," or something like that." And I was like,
"Yeah,
that's a great environment. It's not toxic at all." It's
he doesn't. Me, I'm giving him a heart problem.
He doesn't call his special teams players by their names. He calls them kicker, punter, and holder. I miss every field goal for that man. Every field goal.
He's got to be one of the worst head coaches in NFL history.
Oh, for sure.
So
he's got to be up there.
To him, he made history this season. Yeah.
Did anything the news broke last night at midnight, and then I feel like it's been very quiet on that front.
I think everyone saw it coming. Basically, is what it came down to. So,
he looked like a dead man walking.
No, that's fair. I just feel like more would come out about the firing. Like, all of these reports that I just read off, while I'm stating them as fact, but fact from an unconfirmed source is the fact I'm stating it. It is factually from an unnamed source. And I don't even know if the people are credible. I'm just, except for the Josh Lambo thing. That was apparently he's suing. But no, it's just I felt like there would be more implode. But yes, you're right. He was a dead man walking. He was on his way out. Everyone was just like counting down the days.
Well, you
It
can
just
tell.
I was hoping more would happen. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely on that page where I was like, damn, I really wanted like some sort of Hollywood act or something, just one final goodbye. Which I mean, I guess the whole thing has been, but you could tell he's like kind of in that just transparent mode. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but someone asked him in a press conference, or maybe it was privately or something, about I don't remember what player it was, but they were basically saying, is he seeing any more minutes, or like what's the deal with him on the field? And basically his response was, yeah, he got a couple minutes last week, whatever. We're working him back into the rotation. Turns out the guy didn't even like play. Like he got 0 minutes. Like he was just BSing during the interview. Didn't even recognize the guy's name, like who he was. So like it's just I don't know what's going on back there, but
Maybe he does have like some serious health issues.
well, his daughter's going mad for him on Twitter and Instagram. She's posted like 20 posts, just like this is the most loving, like pictures from like 2015, where it's like, okay, it's kind of irrelevant at this point, but just like
he was a loving dad. That's
it's like a picture of him hugging her. I'm like,
good.
There's a lot of loving dads that would make terrible football coaches.
I mean, he's also hugging a girl at a bar. So I mean,
Yeah, I'm
a lot
not.
more than hugging.
yeah. I
I
mean, he
love
was freaking molesting.
Elbow
I
deep.
love the first, like, okay, the first scandal comes out, and you're like, I mean, he's a great father. And it's like, all right, cool. He still seems to be a scumbag. But, okay, I get it. You didn't know. He's just your father to you. But, like, the 8th one comes out, you can't just be like, I mean, he's a great father. He would never do this. No, he's a scumbag. He might treat you good, and I'm happy. That's good. But he's a scumbag outside the house.
Yeah, man. Call a spade a spade. He's a POS.
Yeah. For sure.
It couldn't happen to a better guy. I mean,
Right.
take a shot in the NFL and become one of the worst NFL after being probably. I mean, let's be real. He was probably one of the better. Like he's one of the best college football coaches.
Yeah,
He's up there. I mean, he is up there. I'll give him that. And I mean, can you blame the guy, Landon? What would you rather do? Get grinded on by a hot blonde in a bar in Columbus, or fly back to Jacksonville with the Jaguars? That's
no,
an easy
I
choice.
agree. I have no clue why he took this job. Enjoy retirement, man. Just chill out.
no, he's off the leash now. Like I want to see all the videos of him at bars now. I want to see him just
I mean,
up.
wasn't there a
That's
video
my next
of him?
question. So he gets fired last night. He's not sleeping in Jacksonville. He's
Hell
got to call his
no.
wife, and
Miami
he's like,
already, 1000%.
hey, can you watch the grandkids? I'm flying to Columbus tonight.
Yeah, he's doing a video on his yacht. You remember that a couple years ago?
Oh my god, that was awesome.
I mean,
That dude ripping the bong in the background.
yeah, like why in the hell would he take that job anyway?
It's incredibly stupid. Have you like listened to that video?
Did Trevor Lawrence beat Ohio State? Is that what was that his plan, just to like get back at Trevor Lawrence?
Did he beat Ohio State? I guess he did. Yeah. 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, I watched that game at Tommy Trent's.
yeah.
Or was that
Yeah,
Oklahoma?
that's awesome.
Overtime? Did it go to
No,
overtime?
yeah, that would have been Trevor Lawrence, right?
I mean, maybe
Yeah,
he
yeah.
just,
It definitely would have been Trevor Lawrence. I just couldn't
he's
remember.
like,
if they
guess
played
what? I'm
Ohio
going to
State.
Jacksonville. We're drafting Trevor Lawrence, and I'm going to tank this whole ship. I don't know. Like it's just a
That would already
weirdest.
basically have sunk. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe there's some sort of
I don't know why. I mean, he's getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
But why would
Oh,
you?
Ohio State.
Why would
beat
you
them.
choose Ohio State beat him?
Yeah.
Oh, was that the year they won the Natty?
Who upset?
Is that 2018? Deshaun Watson beat Ohio State in 2016.
Is that what it is? I'm just remembering like a pretty significant Clemson upset over Ohio State that made some of my Ohio State people quite upset.
So it was a 2018 season, 2019 playoff.
Or
no,
maybe
Clemson
it
did
was.
beat them. Clemson did beat them. I don't know what that. I thought they did, and it wasn't overtime. It was just a really close game.
Yeah.
I don't know what article that was.
Maybe he
that out.
couldn't ever get past Saban in college, so he tried to like outdo him in the NFL. Because Saban didn't have a great NFL coaching career either.
No, he went.
I think he thought the job
And then-
would be a lot easier.
Getting a franchise quarterback right off the rip.
That, and that's just like you hear that all the time. It's like that guy doesn't want to coach in college. It's so much recruiting, and like there's so much more time dedicated to it. Blah blah blah. That where it makes the college job sound harder. But there's so much like the game is harder at the next level.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, you don't have the same like time commitment in May that you normally would, but so I think he legitimately thought he was that good of a coach. The job's easier. This is where I'm going, and that was a terrible decision and thought. But I think he thought it'd be easy for him. I really do. I think he's that cocky.
Good for him.
Well, there's also that part of an NFL head coach that, I mean, it's kind of the same in college, but at least in college it's more of less.
Kind of get to choose who's on your team.
Right. Well, yeah, and it's like once you get to the NFL and it's actually a business, you kind of have to be like, kind of have to stand up and like, it's not be as involved as much, but just like kind of shut up a little bit, like not be as just make the typical smart business decisions that one would say that, keeps you with the players and whatever. Like you work with the organization. I mean, it's the Jaguars. You didn't have to go and get a 10-win season. You needed to stick 3 or 4 wins in there. And it's like, okay, I can stick around for another year. Keep your mouth closed and you're fine. And it's like just something he couldn't do. So, I mean,
yeah, he definitely didn't have the personality for that
enjoy
job.
Enjoy the retirement. So
yeah, I mean, you haven't got to hear jagging off
dysfunctional
a lot since he got there. It's kind of upsetting.
Oh, well, he didn't have to.
He's doing it himself.
He had a girl. Yeah, he had a girl do it for him. No, he didn't have to do it himself. He had that blonde.
Good Lord. My next thing is Shane Beamer and I guess a Maryland signee. Did y'all see this?
Can I call you back? Like 10 minutes. Sorry.
You're good.
I didn't know the microphone was on. I thought I turned it off. We got to wrap it up in 10 minutes.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. We don't have to. That's an arbitrary time. We're good. That was just like a.
Yeah, I'll be there in a minute kind of thing.
No,
so four-star linebacker Jayshawn Barham signed with Maryland on Wednesday, 6 days after he committed to Shane Beamer. And apparently Shane Beamer found out 10 minutes after the kid committed that his plan the whole time was to flip his commitment on Wednesday to Maryland. Kid's from Maryland, so I know it's hard to get kids out of the DMV. But yeah, apparently Shane Beamer got a call like 10 minutes after the kid had committed to him and said, like, apparently he knew the situation. He was like, hey, so this kid's whole plan is to flip on Wednesday. So Shane Beamer's like, yeah, as soon as it happened, I wasn't surprised.
That's dysfunctional. I like it.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Very weird. I know Shane also. Oh, I got that in Stupidity. It's fine. You got any more? What's trending?
Yeah, I got like a little slew of things that like just touch on. One, I hope that like a good amount of college basketball games are having to get canceled and rescheduled and stuff with COVID and stuff. So I'm knocking on wood now, clearing it out. I refuse to start going back downhill with this. We're having March Madness. We're not doing no fans. No. So Joe decided I'm shutting it down. That's covered. We're good. But earlier, Kenneth Walker announced, obviously, he's not going to be in the Peach Bowl. But Kenny Pickett just announced also that he's not going to be playing in the Peach Bowl and going to be focusing on whatever he needs to focus on. So that game's going to be slightly less enjoyable to watch, I guess.
Ugh,
I don't know. I don't even know who's behind him at Pitt. I don't know what that's. I don't know. I figured he'd write it out, but whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I mean, let's take the under.
Yeah. Retired from betting, though. So.
Oh, yeah. That's true. I forgot.
And then
you haven't made it back yet?
What's that?
You haven't made it back yet?
No, and I actually feel really like good about it. Like I hear my buddies are here in my ear. Oh, dude, I shouldn't have bet the under on this game, whatever, Chiefs on this. And I'm like, you're just losing money. Like maybe I would be winning in the short term, but I feel good because just got a little extra Christmas money, Christmas gift money. So just spreading joy. My last one, I don't know if you saw it, but I saw it on 2 different Twitter accounts and just thought it was like, for some reason, like a typical meme troll thing. But the 2 Brazilian politicians, did you see that? So I guess Brazil's a weird place, whatever, but there was some sort of dispute over a water park with an ex-mayor of a city and the new one or something. Basically, they basically were talking their trash the whole time until they staged like an actual fight, like an MMA, like 13-minute 3-round fight. And if you go watch it, like in like all 180 pixels, it's like grainy as ever. But it's just like 2 politicians, dudes, stripped down to their shorts, just going at each other. And I like it. I think we should do
Nice.
that more often.
You're like a gentleman's agreement. Like, hey, we're gonna fight it out, and whoever wins, no
Right.
hard feelings. We just work it out that way.
That's how I want to see the next. I want to see that built into the next presidential debate a little bit. Like, let's start selling some tickets.
Yeah, let's do it.
I would love to see that. That'd be awesome.
Any more? I don't have any more.
I'm good.
Stupidity. Got some of those. First one I got is ESPN recruiting. I mean, they're so bad at everything they do anyway. I mean, no one really watches ESPN unless there's a game on, because the shows are stupid. You got everybody with hot takes, and it's just absolute trash. I went on there. I was watching First Take, and they had Tim Tebow and Stephen A. Smith and Sam Macho talking about the new coaches in college football. Well, Tim Tebow, of course, like, he only has one octave, and that's yelling as loud as he can when he talks. So that was annoying. And then Sam Macho, his hot take was the best coach is Freeman at Notre Dame. That was the best coaching hire so far.
Yeah.
Even the guy's no head coaching experience. Has not. I mean, he's a young guy. He's not really been up for a ton of jobs, and he was, he went on and how he was saying that Notre Dame has a better chance than Lincoln Riley at USC to win a national championship.
I feel like with ESPN, it's just they're like such like the flagship name that they're the ones that no one really goes to for that stuff anyway. Like, it's kind of it's just, I'm not gonna get all my sources from ESPN. Yeah, I'll go look at scores and like game stats, and that's literally it. Like, I'm not saying like what you're saying recruiting. No.
Yeah, but they have Tennessee as the number 22 overall class. I mean, they just don't update it. It looks like everything else is probably close except for Tennessee. I mean, Rivals, we have the number 11 class. ESPN has us as the number 22 class. I don't know what we did to piss ESPN off, but I mean, that's just off. Like, no one else has even remotely close to 22.
Yeah.
Sorry, my boss just sent me that, so I had to read it.
That's fair. A little shout out.
Yeah, a little shout out. My next one is Mike Farrell. He wrote an article on Rivals saying Spencer Rattler immediately becomes the best quarterback in the SEC East. He says fact. And then he goes on to mention like every quarterback in the East besides Hendon Hooker.
Right.
Doesn't even mention him. He mentions Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. He mentions Georgia, but he does not mention Hendon Hooker. I'm like, dude, even if you think Spencer Rattler is better than Hendon Hooker, which I think that's a hot take, you don't even mention that he's up there? You think Will Levis is better than Hendon Hooker? Did you even watch college football last year?
Yeah. No, I don't know if he just didn't catch the memo that Hendon Hooker is coming back or if he's just losing brain cells, but that's pretty odd. I mean, Spencer Rattler's obviously young, so I'm not going to like compare him and Hendon Hooker like stat for stat. Can't even do that. But if you look at what Spencer Rattler was doing and got himself in the position where he's now even there at South Carolina, like, that's outrageous. But again, that's probably one of those things that we talk about. He just wants to get the clicks or something. Because that's
I mean, he has me blocked. He hates Tennessee fans because we roast him every time Trey Smith does something good in the NFL. So, oh well, hate to see it.
People are scared of the truth.
Yeah.
So I just came in on the back end of this. So Spencer Rattler to USC. I mean, it's obviously not a great move, but I mean,
he got the wrong USC is what happened.
That's a good point. No way he wanted to play for Lincoln again.
No
way. But it's just, I mean, I didn't want him at Tennessee because usually, you don't get character stuff like that he's gotten wrong, and just magically fix it. But I do believe like there's something to just like sometimes the place is wrong. I said this, about guys like Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton when they transferred in, and I said maybe for JG. Obviously, it's not always the case. I could see Spencer. I mean, Spencer Rattler's really talented, so I could see it happening. I hate that, but I know the chances of it. Very
Yeah,
low.
that was actually my stupidity. Was Mike Farrell at Rivals tweeting an article saying Spencer Rattler is already the best quarterback in the SEC East.
Okay, that's dumb.
And then mentions like Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. He mentions Georgia. He doesn't mention who the quarterback was, and does not mention Hendon Hooker at all.
He's not even better than Georgia's quarterback, whoever it is.
Yeah. Oh boy, good Lord.
Did anybody mention Dabo for their stupidity?
Oh,
No. It's all you.
He had a good quote. I didn't read the article. I don't read articles unless it's Wikipedia. He said, "It's chaos right now, tampering galore, adults manipulating young men. Education is like the last thing now." Is that quote from this year or is it from 2003? Because I can't tell the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't he say he was going to quit anyway? Why is he not just quit?
Apparently that's not what he meant, Landon.
Good Lord.
I know. It's so annoying. I mean, Clemson doesn't cheat. Okay. Clemson, there haven't been adults manipulating young men since college football's inception. Okay.
Me and Joe said it, I think last week, that this is the downfall of Clemson.
I hope so.
Losing Venables. You know, they're already losing recruits. They haven't lost recruits in a long time. They ain't got it figured out at quarterback. They ain't got it figured out on offense at all. And, you know, it just seems like I wouldn't say dumpster fire, but it doesn't seem great.
It's not dumpster fire yet.
It's
getting there.
I can't wait.
I feel like,
I love to see this happen to other teams. It's just nice. I love it.
I mean, we said paying players would kind of be the end because Dabo's. How can you go play the guy when he's like openly said you shouldn't make money? Like, how can you confidently think you're going to get NIL deals there?
Oh yeah.
And then losing Elliott and Venables, like that's a lot of punches to take one time for Clemson.
Well, dude, how big of an idiot does Elliott look not taking a job last season and then having the offensive output he had this season?
That's a good point. The contract may have been a little bit bigger last year.
Yeah.
Good point.
I'm gonna go with shocker. I mean, maybe not as much, but Joe Buck. This is fresh off the press.
I thought you were going presidential there.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that realm. But this like just happened, like just came across my Twitter feed. But so I guess is it Chargers Chief? Yeah, that's Chargers. That's a dude got bad spinal neck injury, spear tackle, whatever it was, and was on the ground like seizing, like actually like shaking. And Joe Buck, I don't know if it was like a joke or if he's just actually that stupid, because they are in a dome. They're in Lo-Fi. Or what's the Chargers again?
SoFi.
Yeah, SoFi. Yeah.
Same shit. He makes the comment. I think I wouldn't speculate on an injury, but it's pretty cold outside. Is like assuming that he's just shivering from the cold. I'm like,
no way.
He's reamed on Twitter right now. Like, dude, go to straight to the neck, start seizing, and he's like, "Oh, well, it is a little cold outside. That's probably why that's happening." It's like,
good Lord.
Maybe he's trying to like make it G-rated for the kids at home. He's like, I don't want to see kid to see that.
That's what he needs
Disney
to
on his mind.
That's easily the coldest take. Slash ever.
He's like, I was putting a sensor bar on it. Okay, I can't do everything.
Yeah, it's the earmuffs.
Oh,
Jeez.
God. Well, guys, anything else?
That's all I had.
That's it. Be excited but not hopeful. That's my only advice.
Yeah. Be excited, love it. Hopefully we're loving a win in Nashville. Just getting the Nashville people ready for another win here in a few weeks against Purdue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we're trying to do this week. Enjoy the billboards if you see them in the big cities: Knoxville, Chattanooga, Nashville, Memphis, Atlanta, the state or the city in Tennessee, Atlanta. Not
Don't
Georgia.
mess with that. We do have a Paris that has an Eiffel Tower.
I'm sure we got a Columbia, we got a Jackson.
We also have a Milan.
Do we?
Not to be confused with Milan.
I forgot about that. Yeah, guys, thanks for listening. Check us out. We'll have more tweets, more stuff for y'all to interact with this week. Get ready for Christmas. It's coming up fast. I need to do more shopping. So if y'all haven't done that, do it. We're bringing the boat in, and we out.